Hey everybody, this is Rykard here again, and welcome to my next Pokemon sets upload. As you can tell from the picture, today's episode is going to be dedicated to Dunsparce, which is a really fun and interesting Pokemon to make sets for. But I have two sets for you today, so let's get started first by taking a look at this Pokemon's typing, abilities, and stats. So first off, Dunsparce was a Pokemon introduced into Generation 2 and is of the mono-normal type variety. As for its abilities, the first one that it gets, and the one that you're probably going to be using all the time, is Serene Grace, which is an awesome ability that doubles the effects of doubles the chance of a secondary effect occurring, meaning that if you use a move like Bite, which normally has a 30% chance to flinch, with the Serene Grace ability, it will now have a 60% chance to flinch. So this is possibly one of the best abilities in the game, and it's really awesome that Dunsparce gets it. As for its second ability, it is known as Runaway, which has absolutely no use in competitive battles, unfortunately, and its last ability, which is its Dreamled ability, is an ability known as Rattled, which is an ability that increases your speed by one stage when you're hit by a Bug, Dark, or Ghost type move. Funnily enough, Dunsparce cannot be hurt by Ghost moves, so this would only apply to Bug and Dark, and it still doesn't matter anyways because Dunsparce has better ways of boosting its speed or paralyzing your opponent to make it so that you're faster than them anyway, so more often than not, you're just going to want to go with Serene Grace. As for the stats, it has a really nice base 100 HP, which means that it can take hits pretty well if you decide to max that out. And it also has a pretty decent defense stat and special defense stat, being at 70 and 65 respectively. So if you do want to make some type of defensive Dunsparce with max HP and maybe a defensive EV spread as well, that could actually work out pretty well for you because this Pokemon doesn't have bad stats in those areas. As for its attacking stats, it only has base 70 physical attack and only base 65 special attack, which means that it isn't the most powerful Pokemon in the world. However, it does have access to moves like Coil to boost its attack, and it also can use Charge Beam to boost its special attack if you want to do something like that. And lastly, it does have base 45 speed, which is pretty slow overall, but like I said before, you can paralyze things with Body Slam, and you can also make use of agility to boost your own speed, so it's really not that terrible, and Dunsparce usually finds a way to work around it anyway. But with that, let's take a look at the first set that I have for you for this video, which is a lead Dunsparce set that I really enjoy using. So first off for the set, we're going to start by giving Dunsparce an Impish Nature to increase its physical defense and lower its special attack, and for the ability we're going to be going with Serene Grace. As for the EVs, we're going to put 252 into our HP to max that, 4 for our attack, and then 252 EVs into our physical defense to max our physical defense. And if you're wondering why I'm doing a physically defensive Dunsparce, it is because of the fact that most other leads that you're going to run into are going to be attacking from the physical side. So this will allow Dunsparce to match up pretty well against a lot of other common leads that you're going to run into. But for the item on the set, being a more defensive set, we are going to be going with Leftovers as a way to recover a little bit of HP every turn. For the moves, the first one that we're going to go with is Stealth Rock, which I didn't even know Dunsparce got until I researched its move pool a little bit. And that's really cool because you can actually have a Dunsparce that sets up entry hazards and also can still make use of the Serene Grace ability very easily. But also with that, we're going to be making use of Body Slam, which is pretty much a staple of most Dunsparce sets, just because, as I mentioned before, it does have a 60% chance to paralyze, which is really awesome because you can actually use this Pokemon to paralyze a ton of members of your opponent's team and also take physical hits in the process. Also, to make another attacking move on the set, I decided to go with Aqua Tail because there are a lot of ground and rock types that like to set up entry hazards early in the match, and Aqua Tail is obviously going to be super effective against them, especially a Pokemon like Golem, which is actually going to be 4 times weak to the Aqua Tail, which is really cool. And as for the last move on the set, to allow Dunsparce to last a little bit longer in battle, we're going to put Roost on the set to allow you to recover HP, and that's going to be really good because obviously being physically defensive, you're able to take physical hits and then roost it off. And then obviously allowing you to stay longer in battle and paralyze more things and just kind of support your team as a whole. So I really like this Dunsparce set as a lead because it can do so many different things and also has the option to recover health if it needs to, unlike a lot of other common Stealth Rock Pokemon or other leads that you're going to be running into. So this makes this Pokemon very unique in my opinion. As for this next set, this is the one you're all probably a little bit more familiar with, just because I did use it in my previous battle. But for the nature on this set, we're going to start by giving Dunsparce either a Jolly or Adamant nature Jolly increasing your speed but lowering your special attack, whereas Adamant will increase your physical attack but lower your special attack. And for the ability, again, we're going to be going with Serene Grace, which is a lot of fun to use with this set. But for the EVs, we're going to max out our attack with 252 EVs into that, 4 EVs into our defense, and then the remainder 252 EVs into our speed to also max out that stat. And for the item on the set, you can either go, in my opinion, with a metronome or a life orb. And if you're not sure how the metronome item works, basically, the more you use a move in a row, the stronger it will become. So the reason why this works so well as an item for a set like this is because you're basically wanting to use one move. And just lock yourself into that so you can basically continuously flinch your opponent, and then as you're doing that, your attack power from that specific move is going to get stronger every time you use it. Now you do have to keep in mind that when you're using this item, if you change up moves, the counter will reset for metronome, so you are going to have to build up the power again by using an attack, but that is just something that comes with it. Also, if you want a more reliable option, but with the added recoil, you could go with a life orb if you do want to. I just think metronome is a hell of a lot of fun to use with this set. But anyways, for the moves, as I mentioned before when I was talking about the stats, Dunsparce does get the move agility to double its speed, which is really cool. And the reason why this works so well on this set is because normally Dunsparce has to rely on paralyzing things and then flinching them, but if you can just agility and become faster than everything, you can just freely flinch things regardless of whether or not they're paralyzed, which is really cool because that's not something you normally see Dunsparce doing. And Dunsparce has 3 really great moves with really good coverage to make use of its added flinch chance with the Serene Grace ability. You could either use Headbutt as your main normal type stab, Rock Slide as your rock type move, or Bite as a move to hit the ghost types that Headbutt would not be able to hit, obviously because ghost types are immune to it. All of these moves have a 30% chance to flinch normally, but with the Serene Grace ability, you now have a 60% chance to flinch, and with the agility boost, you're going to be faster than pretty much everything that isn't scarfed or has a very high base speed, and also has a boost or something like that. Either way, with an agility, you should be faster than most things, so you will be able to do a ton of damage with the set, and obviously build up a lot of damage with your metronome item and flinch your opponent in the process. It's a little bit of a luck-based set, but it's a lot of fun to use and very rewarding when it works out. But anyways, that is all I have for you for this video. So as always, take care, goodbye, I will see you next time, and I hope you enjoyed.